Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up, It's the Law. Today, we are tackling a complex and controversial topic: the legality of the deportation policies implemented under President Donald Trump. Now, whether you agree with these policies or not, understanding their legal framework and challenges is critical. In this video, we'll take a deeper dive into these issues, looking at specific policies, court cases, and the broader implication for immigration law in the US. Let's dive in. First, let's start with the basics. The executive branch's role in immigration. The U.S. Constitution grants Congress the power to create immigration laws, but the executive branch, through agencies like Immigration and Customs Enforcement, better known as ICE, enforces these laws. Now, President Trump, like other presidents before him, issued executive orders to influence immigration enforcement. But how far can a president go before crossing these legal boundaries? Well, this question has sparked significant debate over the last couple of days. The courts often serve as a check on executive power, but their decisions can vary depending on the specifics of each case. So let's break down some of the most contentious policies from the Trump administration. One of the most notable examples is the so-called travel ban, formerly known as Executive Order 13769, which was originally enacted in 2017 and was titled Protecting the Nation from Foreign Terrorist Entry into the United States. Now, initially, it restricted travel from 7 predominantly Muslim countries: Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. Iraq was later removed, but critics called this order unconstitutional, claiming it discriminated based on religion, and you can see why. But the administration argued it was about national security, and after several revisions and lawsuits, the case ended up going all the way to the United States Supreme Court in 2018. The court upheld the third revision of the travel ban, ruling it within the president's authority to regulate immigration for national security purposes. And this decision underscores the broad discretion presidents have in immigration matters. But it also highlights how legal challenges can shape and refine policy over time. Another contentious policy was the expansion of expedited removals. This policy allowed for rapid deportations without standard immigration court hearings. Under the Trump administration, the scope of the policy expanded significantly, applying to individuals anywhere in the US who wouldn't prove that they have been in the country for at least 2 years. Some legal advocates argued that this violated due process rights under the Fifth Amendment, while the administration defended it as a necessary evil to address border crises and reduce backlogs. Courts have been divided. Some upheld the policies, while others blocked its implementation in certain areas. This raises an important question. Do undocumented immigrants within U.S. borders have constitutional protections? Historically, courts have said that they do, at least to some degree. But the extent of those protections remains a point of contention. We must also consider what the Biden administration has done. In September 2024, just a few months ago, the House Committee on Homeland Security majority released a report documenting the Biden-Harris administration's responsibility for a historic border crisis. They released a comprehensive new report documenting how President Joe Biden and Vice President and Biden-appointed border czar Kamala Harris and other administration officials schemed together to open up our borders, gut interior enforcement, and spark a historic flood of illegal immigration from immediately after the 2020 election through the present day. Chairman Mark E. Green said that, quote, "Since January 2021, the American people have watched in horror as Biden and Harris have opened our borders, tied the hands of Department of Homeland Security law enforcement, and left our communities to deal with the consequences. This report serves as a reckoning for them. The evidence makes one fact inescapably clear. This crisis was intentional from the very start and disastrous and is unnecessary." In the report, the committee states, quote, "A close examination of the evidence makes clear that even before taking office, the incoming Biden-Harris administration set its sights on dismantling a secure border and flooding the country with inadmissible aliens. This evidence is readily apparent in the actions of the Biden transition team, the Biden-Harris administration's rapid elimination of effective border security policies with no alternatives put in place, and its utter refusal to enforce longstanding U.S. immigration laws. Now, the committee's report details the warnings to the Biden administration team and the transition team by experienced border security professionals in the lead up to Biden and Harris's inauguration. The administration's immediate actions to dismantle effective policies that had secured the border, and Biden and Harris's subsequent years-long refusal to enforce the immigration laws of the United States. As a result of their action, well over 10.3 million inadmissible aliens have been entered into the United States from January 20th, 2021 until the 2024 presidential election, an increase of more than 200% from the previous administration. Combined, the Biden-Harris administration has released or allowed into the interior more than 7 million inadmissible aliens, well over 5 million releases, and roughly 2 million known gotaways, most of whom never got removed. On Harris's performance as Biden's border czar, the committee notes, quote, on March 24th, 2021, Biden announced that he was tapping Harris to, quote, lead our efforts in working with Mexico and Central America to stem the flow of historic numbers of would-be illegal border crossers to the southwest border. However, despite the fanfare that accompanied being given responsibility for this all-important issue, Harris utterly failed to deliver any solutions to the border crisis her own policies and statements helped create. A careful look at the track record reveals why putting her, of all officials, in charge of the border crisis was the height of foolishness. And the committee concludes, quote, Biden and Harris were entrusted with the responsibility to secure the borders, enforce the law, and keep Americans safe. Not only have they broken that trust, but they willfully cast aside their sacred obligation to the American people, and history will remember them for this. But before those books are written, leaders in both parties must stand up and do what is right. End this crisis, reduce illegal immigration, and secure our borders. And this is where Trump came in. So let's talk about Trump and his policies. For instance, let's talk about sanctuary cities. These are jurisdictions that limit their cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. President Trump signed an executive order to withhold federal funds from these jurisdictions, and the move was met with swift legal challenges. Federal courts all across the nation have tried to strike down this policy, and some have been successful, citing the 10th Amendment, which prohibits the federal government from coercing states into enforcing federal laws. Now, this case became a prime example of the checks and balances system at work. Even when a president has a strong agenda, the courts can always step in to ensure the constitutional principles are being upheld. To understand the broader picture, let's look at some of the legal challenges faced by the Trump administration immigration policies. Number one, family separation policy. The administration's zero tolerance policy led to widespread family separations at the border. While the policy was intended to deter illegal immigration, it faced backlash for violating human rights and federal laws protecting minors. Number two, public charge rule. This rule made it harder for immigrants who might use public benefits to obtain green cards. Several courts blocked the policy, arguing it violated existing immigration statutes. Number three, the DACA rollback. Efforts to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA, program were met with lawsuits. In 2020, the Supreme Court ruled that the administration's attempt to end DACA was, quote, arbitrary and capricious, keeping the program in place. Now, each of these cases shows how the judiciary can influence immigration policy, either by upholding or blocking executive action. So the actions of the president are not just automatically enforced. The judiciary has the opportunity to enforce checks and balances on any executive, aka Trump decision. So what does this all mean for the future of immigration laws? Well, for one, it highlights the significant power the executive branch wields in this area, but it also shows the importance of checks and balances, as I just said, as well as the role of public opinion and advocacy in shaping outcomes in immigration policies. For example, widespread public outcry over family separations led to policy changes and court interventions. Similarly, advocacy groups continue continue to challenge policies they see as harmful or unconstitutional. At the end of the day, the legality of President Trump's deportation policies and immigration enforcement in general is a mix of constitutional interpretation, existing laws, and judicial decisions. These policies have far-reaching implications, as we can clearly see, not just for immigrants, but for the legal and moral fabric of the country we like to call the United States of America, our home. Now tell me, what do you think? Do you think the executive branch should have this much discretion over immigration enforcement? Or do you feel like we need more safeguards to protect constitutional rights? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've got questions about other immigration issues, drop those down as well. I would love to cover them in a future video. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified the next time we have a video. Share this video with anyone you feel who might be curious about immigration laws. And as always, stay informed, stay curious, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.